Awesome, awesome, awesome. So let me share my screen. Hold on. A very busy screen. All right. Okay, so recap from last week. Um, that last week was our first ever asset management Zoom. So it wasn't really last week, it was 2 weeks ago, but to us it's week. So recap from week one. We talked about what an asset management team is, how asset management differs from property management, what the importance of an asset management team is, the tasks involved in asset management, and if you were to structure a team, what would an ideal team look like? And so this is kind of our curriculum. Shows what to expect week per week. Like I said, last week we did an intro, and then this week we're talking about incorporating the property management company in your business plan as well as in your budget preparation. And then you can see what the subsequent weeks look like. We're hoping by the end of this session that you would be able to recognize the importance of early engagement of the property man, and I think that's real key. Early engagement of the property management company with the business plan, and given a business plan, what are the key core components? We're also going to quickly review what an asset manager's role is in the preparation of the budget, and outline steps to ensure that your budget aligns with your pro forma. And with all of these sessions that we have, we're going to be bringing in case studies, our case studies, things that we're working on or we've experienced. So, Bibi, how early should a property manager be introduced to and engage with the business plan? Actually, how does one go about sourcing a property management company?
Thank you so much, Ify, for that question, because it's very important. Property management company is a very key or critical aspect of your business plan. So the way at which you get them is very important and key to the success of your business plan. But we'll not be discussing that today. Sorry, Ify, about that. We will be doing that next week extensively. So for next week, we'll be showing you the checklist. It's not completely exhaustible, but these are things that have helped us over the years in selecting our property management company. So some checklists, we'll be discussing them, and we'll be reviewing samples of closing checklists that you need to work on with your property manager pre-close, closing, and post-close. Then you also need to know how to identify warning signs and red flags that signal it is time for you to transition to another property management company. If you do not notice those red flags on time, that might derail your business plan. So it's important that you know those red flags you should look out for and when to take that decision. And we're also going to identify quality good as what are the good qualities of an asset manager and a property manager. If you're an asset manager, will they regard you as will you be recognized as a good asset manager? What are the qualities that you should have, and what are the qualities that your property management company should also have? Reforecasting is basically has to do with updating your business plan. So it's not just cast on stone, meaning that you created your business plan and that's it. So we'll be diving deep into that. What do you need to do? Update your business plan. What are things you'll be updating at that point? So these and many more we'll be discussing next week. So to answer your question, wait till next week.
Okay, fine. So the original question though was, how early should a property manager be introduced to and engage with the business plan?
I think I should ask the audience. I really want to know their perspective at this point,
Okay, how
because
early? Yeah,
when I started my business, I had a different understanding. So I know some people were like me. So I really need to know So let's ask the audience.
So how early do you guys think a management company or a property manager should be introduced to and engage with the business plan? Is it at closing, after closing, when you're underwriting, hint? How early do you think that should be?
Hey, I see some. Okay. How early should a property management company be engaged in your business plan? In my opinion, is at the beginning. Because a property management company is one of those very important relationships you should have even before you source for a deal. Because these are the people that will help you with your underwriting and help you with, if possible, your due diligence, and also help you with your business plan execution. So the earlier you bring them on board in your deal, the better for you. It just makes it a lot easier at that point. So I would say that you involve them as early as during your underwriting stage. When you're sure you're going ahead with the deal, you bring them on board so that they help you, and everything just everything just falls in line because you guys work together from the beginning.
Awesome.
Is the next slide.
Mhm.
Okay. What are the core components of a multifamily business plan? When you've involved your property management company at the beginning, there are things that you should hand over or give to your business plan to help them in executing your plan. And one of those things you need to give to them is the business plan. And in my opinion, this business plan does not need to be bogus or does not need to be very detailed and comprehensive. It should just be high-level business plan, because the people, first of all, you're talking to are experienced and savvy with this. So you don't really need to break it all down. They already know what you're talking about if you are able to give them an high-level business plan. So based on experience, I've been able to break down into these 5 categories. Asset description or summary. I should be able to describe the assets to the property manager. What are the features? What year was it built? How many units? How many units is it, and the square foot and all that. I need to give some description, a summary about the assets, then also the market dynamics, what can affect my business plan. Is there any new company coming in? Is Amazon coming in the next 2 years? With that will improve my rent, or my renter. Is the latest car company going to leave in the next 2 years? That will also affect my business plan. So these are things I need to also specify in my business plan. Capital needs, what are the things I intend to do? Is it going to be, will I be buying HVAC? Will I be buying new chillers? Will I be changing the roof? What are the capital needs that the property needs? So these are things I need to also specify in my business plan. Then summary of the debt. They need to know what debt I'm carrying, and if I have some covenants or holders, they need to know those things in my business plan so that they can help me meet those holders or those covenants. Last week, we were able to define what covenants or holders means. These are requirements from the lender that is given to you to execute. CapEx issues, it can be anything, or it can be your tax returns, depending on the requirement from the bank. So you need to specify those covenants or holders in your summary of your debt. Then top priorities, is it a value add? Is it just for you to stabilize the property? What exactly are you going to be doing on this property? You need to specify those things and the amount you intend to spend and all that. So in summary, your business plan should have this in a very high level stage.
And I
Yeah.
think we have a live business plan coming up, correct?
Yes, I will be sharing with you for this property, because this is one of the properties we closed down recently, and we created a business plan with our property management company that we handed over to them. So from the beginning, they understood what we really wanted to achieve, and they were able to modify the budget to suit that. So we'll break down. I'll show you in a few minutes. Okay, so this is it. This is a rough template of what I presented to the property management company at the beginning. I described the assets. I told them it's a 123 units. It's 95% 2 bedrooms, 28 95 units are 2 bedrooms, 28 units is 1 bedroom. It's a 1968 vintage. The square foot. I also was able to let them understand that for the market dynamics, this is a low supply and high demand kind of location, meaning that we realize that we don't have direct competitors to that property because we are surrounded with single family homes. That is very key for us. That means we have less competitors in that area. In that way, we can be able to push a high demand. And we're also very close to the DFW area, where we have the airport and other good areas. And the population, we are seeing a lot of people moving there, and with that there will be population growth, and that will also help our property in few years to come. So I defined that. Then we also went to the capital needs based on the tour on the property and the due diligence. We were able to identify some needs, which I had to state in my business plan, that the parking lot needed to be resurfaced, fencing and entrance gates. We noticed that they were broken, and it needed to avoid to limit the entrance to the property by non-tenants. We also realized that 50% interior renovation would be required. And how did we come about that? At the time at which we were going around touring the property, we were, and also doing the tenant due diligence, tenant lease audit, we realized that averagely most of the tenants have stayed in that property for 5 years. So it would be dumb of us to say we want to renovate 100% of the interior renovation, interior units. So because we toured all the units, we realized that we will not be able to achieve 100% of it, but rather at least 50% will be achieved. We specify that in our capital needs. Then top priority, they need to understand what exactly you want to achieve. Is it a value add? We told them this is a value add, but very low. It's not an heavy lifting value add property. It's not a repositioning of the properties. It's just a very minute value add. But the main thing we want to concentrate on is to ensure that the property remains at 95% and tenant retention as well as collection. So when this property management company is seeing this, they know that, okay, whatever it is, we are budgeting for CapEx should not be in the A-class level kind of repairs. It's going to be in the C-class level kind of repairs to fit our business plan. We also told him how long the duration of that would be, the upgrade. We said in 18 months, and a minimum of 5,000 for each unit. We also broke down the amount for exterior capex and the amount for interior capex. And we also stated our exit strategy. At what time do we intend to exit on this property? We told them 4 years. It's going to be 4 years old. We also broke down the debt summary for the deal as well. So these are things that we did, and we handed it over to the property management company. Can you move to the next slide, please?
Sure. Let me minimize this.
If you have any question, please wait to the end, and I'm sure we'll give you answers to them.
So I have a question for the audience, and the question is, who prepares the budget? Is it A, the asset manager, B, the property manager, C, the lender, D, the GP team, or who cares? No, just kidding. Not sure. I'm too new at this. I don't know the answer. So who prepares the budget? Who do you guys say prepares the budget? So let me look in the Put it in the chat.
Oh, I see a lot of GPT.
GPT.
Asset manager.
Asset manager. Asset manager, asset manager. Oh, so it looks like it's a toss between the GPT and the asset manager.
Yes, who prepares the budget? It's actually the property manager. Why is that? It's because they are the ones that will be executing your business plan for you, and and they also understand the market and also understand what is required in executing that. So they prepared the budget, but does not mean that we as asset managers should fold our hands and just allow them prepare the budget and start executing. We have a major role to play in this. So please move to the next slide. As an asset manager, we have two very key important roles to play with. Okay, before I say that, some of the characteristics of a good budget, when a property management company gives you a budget, what are the characteristics for you to know, okay, this is a good budget, is that the budget should be granular or in-depth or detailed. That means it must spell out everything needed. Nothing should be left out. It must be in detail. Detail everything, every line items must be stated in it. It must be reasonable, realistic, not over promising and under delivering. And as well, it's important that as a property manager, as an asset manager, you always put your property management company on their toes by just being adequately aggressive. If you know that they can do more than what is required, you can challenge them, but treat it with caution. Be sure that they can deliver in that aggressive instance that you think that they can take. You need to be sure that they can, and put them on their toes, and you find out that these are part of the characteristics of having a good budget in place. So I'm going to move over to, what do we do as an asset manager? Are we just supposed to fold our hands and watch them do their thing? No. As an asset manager, when you are given the budget, your job is to review. So we're going to show you examples of what our budgets for some of our deals look like, and what we're reviewing and what we were taking notes of, and how we're able to compare it with our pro forma, then the different stages we went through before we approved it. So as an asset manager, your role is to review by comparing it with your pro forma, and also checking if it aligns with your business plan. For example, if something is on the budget that does not bring any value, or any that does not align with your business plan, you need to take it out. It doesn't have to be in that budget. Then you need to also do this before you close on your deal, because at the point at which you close on your deal, they now begin to execute. So you need to review, compare with your pro forma, and approve. And how often do you do this? This is done on a yearly basis, but also you have the room to constantly update your budget based on recent happenings. Maybe something has changed, maybe the tax, the insurance, those things are beyond your control. If they have changed at some certain point, for example, on this property, when we were doing the budget for our insurance was 97,000, and that was what was quoted for. But at just few days to close, and the lender came up with additional requirements with the insurance company that required that our budget, or whatever it is that we had for insurance, was no longer possible. They increased it, and they increased it from 97 to 106,000. This was done few days towards closing. So what we did was to make the adjustment after we closed to our budget. That is no longer 95, now it's 106. So even our tax, we also realized we created the budget and our tax was slightly high, but we later realized that the current owner was litigating the tax, and the judgment had come out. The judgment came out a few months after we went on that contract, and required that we reduce the projection for our tax. So things like this can happen, and you might just need to update it based on the recent things that are happening. For example, if your fiscal year is between January and December, it's important that somewhere around October ending November, you are having a conversation with your property management company to create the new budget for the new year, and to make adjustments based on maybe the 1 year experience. You also need to compare it with your performer, and ensure that it aligns with your performer. If it's going to be worse, then that might be an issue. But if your performer becomes your budget, or what, based on what you did a year ago, looks a lot better than your performer, then that's a good thing. But as much as possible, always compare it with your performer to ensure that you are able to achieve your business plan. Can we move to the next slide, please?
Sure. Okay.
So I'm going to show you a sample of two of our budgets, and what kind of conversations we are having with our property management company. What were we looking at? How detailed was this budget, and the line items that was covered in them. So
Okay.
yes, so this
is it showing?
Yes, it is.
Okay, awesome. Let me make it bigger.
Yeah, so this is the budget we had for the Morningside apartment, the one we just showed you. The budget had a detailed breakdown of everything that was going to happen on that property, from the occupancy goal to the unit vacancies, to the write-offs, to the concessions, any form of other income we think we're going to have. We had line items for everything. We had also for the expenses as well. We also had a detailed breakdown. That's the next, yes. So they also broke it down to the lowest to the smallest. You can see under the miscellaneous management expenses, we have travel, we have office supplies, we have postage, and delivery, so we had arrangement for everything. This is what a budget looks like. It covers the budget for income, budget for expenses, the summary of it. And this property management company went in detail to also show us the market survey and how they were able to come up with the budget that this will be with what we see in the market, we can achieve this budget. So this is just one of the samples. Not everybody as detailed as this property management company. So, but we have another one. This is for another of our property as well. This is student housing, and it's just the same format. Everything, line items, everything was broken down into, we had the amount for everything. And in this, if you look properly, please, can you scroll down to the first to the beginning?
Oh, sure.
Yeah, so in this one, you will see how it was broken down, the line items and all that. You see at the part where we have annualized is a property management suggestion of the budget, and as we're comparing it with the pro forma for our year one and where we needed to be at. And if you see, our rental income was below and was higher than what the property management company was supposed to what we're supposed to get for our rental income. But I had to put a yellow note here that they should not forget that the reason for the increase was going to come from traditional rental, because they didn't take cognizance of that in their own performance. So as an asset manager, it was my role to review and make them understand that I don't think this is not what it is. This is what it should be based on this. And we were able to come to a conclusion that yes, it's true, and that is possible. Not just that, even in the expenses aspect, we had compared side by side, line by line, with what we had in our pro forma and what they had in their own annualized item. And you can see here, the annualized was at 1544, houses at 15500, theirs is at 14400, houses at 14400. And beside it, you see some notes I was making. I was saying that why do we need to lease a printer? Some people lease printing machines, but I prefer rather we buy. So I said I think we should buy than leasing, because this amount for leasing is a lot for just 1 year. As an asset manager, our role is to ensure that we reduce expenses. So that this is part of the ways I felt we could reduce expenses. And they had something under a line item, apartment association fee, and I didn't understand it, and it's a lot of money, more than 200 grand. So I was like, please clarify, because I really needed to understand if we needed this at all. But at the point, the next meeting, we went through all these line items, and we were able to remove and add the items that did not fit into our goal and all that. So if you scroll down, you see some notes at the side, and this was just the second meeting we're having. So we had about 4 meetings before we were able to conclude, and we approved the business plan. And once it's approved, the next thing they do is to upload it into they upload the budget into the software application, so that when you start your execution, you can start comparing the actual, what is happening exactly versus your budget. So with this line item, we can know when a budget has derailed or when something is off. We can know. This helps us to know or pinpoint a variation at that point. So
it's a dynamic document. It's not static. It's not fixed in stone. Got it.
It's case by case, depending on your property management company and depending on the need of the property. That will determine what line item is required. But there's some very standard line items like insurance, tax, utilities. You can't take those things off the table. They are all there. So depending, that will require what you need to put in what they need to put in their budget.
Got it. This really underscores the importance of having a property management company to start with early on, like you said, at the beginning of your journey, not at the end. Otherwise, you're going to what's the word? You're going to have a fire brigade approach. It's like we're closing and we need to do all these things at the same time.
Put this in the right perspective. Let me bring it into personal life. It's like you getting married and you didn't even date the person, and you just woke up one day and said, I'm getting married now. Let's go to the altar or to the court to get married. Remember, you don't know the person, nothing has happened, you don't even know if you're compatible. You get married, then you start facing the reality of life, and at that point you're like, what happened? Then or you've known the person for a while, you've known their bad sides, the good sides, and you decide, okay, I think we should go ahead with this and all that. So it's just like that. It's like a marriage. You need to engage them on time, not when the marriage has taken place or a date to the marriage. No.
Makes sense. Makes sense. All right. So we'll take questions, but then you can, reiterate what they're going to expect next week.
Yes, for next week, for those of you that were not here from the beginning, we'll be going through the checklist for selecting a property management company. We'll be reviewing sample closing checklist items. There are some things as an asset manager you should ensure that your property management company is doing or you are doing. For example, do you know that you need to walk through your property before you close, or go through your inventory? Because we've seen cases where owners show you an inventory at the beginning, but at the end they take it away. We've had that experience on 2 of our deals, that the owner wanted to take away the property shuttle, the bus that was meant for the property. So the good thing was that we did a walkthrough and we saw that it was there. And after we closed, he wanted to take it, and we were like, no, this came with the property. We've also seen a case whereby the owner gave us some inventory, and because we didn't do a walkthrough, we came back a day after we closed. We went back there and the whole office was dried up. Everything was
Wiped out.
it was wiped out. Nothing was there, So there's some things you need to do pre-close, closing, and post-close to avoid those kind of issues. Then recognize the warning sign. When do you need to let go of that property management company? We went through a deal and we realized that we're not compatible with our property management company now. We were able to transition to another one that fits and suits our business plan. What are the things you should be doing during the transition process to enable a smooth transition? And how do you identify qualities of a good asset and property management company? Then reforecasting. When do you update your business plan or your budget, not your business plan, but when you update your budget based on recent happenings or something that just happened that is going to make significant impact on your goal or your success? So these are many more we'll be discussing next week. So do you have any questions from anyone?
We do, and I wonder if this one will really be answered in full force next week with the qualities of a good asset manager. But I have a question about how does one go about getting the best asset management partner? Like how do you go about doing that? How do I know? How did you know, or that XYZ or ABC would make a good person on the asset management team? If that's for next week, let me know. But if you can shed some light.
I'm not going to spill the bean because
okay. Come next week then.
We address this next week, but it's important that you know when you're selecting your partner, because they're your partners. When selecting or choosing your life partner, like your husband, there's some criteria you already have, and if they don't fit into those checklists, then you will never even get married to them in the first instance. It's the same thing with this. So these are things we'll be discussing next week. So I'm not going to spill the bean.
Awesome. Come back. And then, should property managers have additional clauses in their contract to protect the operators? The person asked it in a different way. He also said, is there extra things we should ask a property manager to have in their contract to ensure they work well with asset management team?
Oh, okay. These are things we'll be discussing next week, but let me just say this. During the process of your negotiation with the property management company, when you are addressing the contract between the both of you, that is the right time for you to put in things that you want, like limits. I've seen a case whereby a property management company says, and they can withdraw 50,000, 20,000. And we saw that and we're like, what? No, we had to create a limit and we made it 5,000. Anything above 5,000, you need to consult us. We need to approve that amount, because if we just left it that way, they would just pull out 25,000, 50,000, and we are like, what just happened here? So there are things you need to be there during the time before you sign your contract with them. There are things you can put in as a property management company to protect yourself or to help you, and also to keep them in check. So we'll be discussing this next week. Let's not just go in details yet.
All right, I'm going to ask you to wear your underwriter hat. How do you determine the duration of time to hold on assets in terms of your exit strategy? This is coming from Bridget.
Yeah, hi Bridget. Yes, that is at the beginning when you are doing your underwriting. The numbers will kind of give you an idea of what your projection should look like, what your business plan should look like. I'm a numbers person, so I follow the numbers. If my internal rate of return starts, I get to my peak, that is, for me, that's a good sign that I need to exit at that time. Internal rate of return, it takes cognizance of the time value of money. So if I have 50,000 and 50,000 can yield as much as 18% within 3 years, then if I exceed 3 years and it becomes 4 years, it now declines to 16%. It shows me that 3 years will be the right time for me to leave. Also the market trend, it's also a determinant, but let's this is not an event for that, but what I will leave with you today is your exit strategy is determined at the beginning, but does not necessarily mean that you will exit at that time. The market can change, things can happen that will now prove that will now
Dictate, yeah.
take your new decision. But as an asset manager, it's your role to always study the market trend. And in that way, you'll be able to identify if the 3 years I said I was going to exit at the beginning is still achievable when it's almost that third year. You need to monitor the market at that time. And let me give you an example. We bought a property in 2021 and we had a plan to refinance in 2023. But come 2023, we all know that this is the highest interest rate hike ever, and it will be unreasonable for us to refi. We had an interest rate of 4.1. It would be very foolish of us to refi at 7.5, although we've increased our NOI, but still the market is not favorable for us to keep going. So what we decided to do was pull out little equity and wait for the market to change or become more favorable for us to exit. And that was a call I made as an asset manager to determine what to do at that point. Since my initial plan was to exit at 3 years and I was not able to achieve it, I decided to make another call based on the what I could achieve in this recent market. I hope that clarifies.
Yeah, no, that's good. Okay, so I'm going to need you to put your asset manager hat back one more time for Nigar's question. She's asking, Bibi, how did you learn from the beginning to do all of this? Spill the beans. 5 seconds.
I just smiling. The thing is, I've gained experience for the last almost 13 years, both overseas and also in the US as firstly as a property manager, then an asset manager. So I can actually understand from a property manager's perspective and from a asset manager's perspective. And truth be told, I was all hands on deck. You know, I'm a very practical person. I really wanted to dive into it and make those mistakes at the early stage, then learn from those mistakes. So YouTube was actually my teacher. I learned a lot from there, and I didn't just stick to those knowledge. I went into practice. We started buying properties. I started implementing those things I learned on YouTube into reality. I made some errors, and those errors made me understand the truth about the entire process. Right now, I'm still learning. Everyone is still learning, and we face challenges every day. But with the more you do it, the more you gain experience in handling real life challenges. For example, if you notice what has been going on in the market, some properties experienced operators foreclosing on their properties. I wouldn't say that they were not experienced. No, they were experienced in it, but maybe they just missed out on one thing, or they just allowed something slide, or maybe they had never seen the market go bad. There's some people that have been in a bad and in a good market. Those ones have the tendencies to face better challenges because of the experience. And we've seen many operators that came in when the market was booming. You know, the experience you have when the market is booming versus the experience you have when the market is in the rocket, is in the lowest point, is different. You know, at that point when you're at the lowest point, you put in your thinking hat and start facing them head on and looking for better ways to face those challenges, just like what we are doing right now. You know, we are seeing something that's not happened in many years. Interest rate has gone up. Many people did not make provisions for rate cap. Many operators, they didn't make because they didn't see this coming. And even those that made provisions, right now, those rate caps are in millions. You know, they didn't in their underwriting, they didn't forecast for that. You know, so we ended up seeing blood on the streets, properties foreclosing. So the more you do it, the more downtimes you have in this situation and up times, it will help you become better as an operator. So it's more practical than theory.
Great answer. All right. I don't think we have any more questions. I think we covered it all. Thank you everyone for coming. Thank you for being here. Would love to hear from you. Message us on Instagram, Bibi_Ify, Ify_Aso, or you can email us. Would love to hear from you. Let us know that you connected through the Multifamily Freedom Chasers. On Sundays, select Sundays, we have our activation Zooms. We alternate with our co-hosts, Peter, Billionaire Pete, and Ed Shamirian on alternating Mondays. They do broker calls. We're the asset management queens. And then on Tuesdays, we have napkin underwriting. Wednesdays, there's an alternating event between the Miles family. They are our go-to debt brokers, as well as the Armada team, and they're talking about building, team building, multifamily foundations. So getting those property management companies, getting a team in place, etc. Thank you guys so much for joining us, and we will see you next time. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.